into existence, this financial aid getting paid.
Hi everyone, this is Asia from the Bronx. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to be talking about my Howard journey / testimony, how I got through 4 years of Howard for Howard. Basically this video is to give confidence to anyone that feels like giving up. My college experience was not easy at all, and whether you know me from seeing on my GoFundMe, seeing all the posts that I would post about trying to get through school, trying to raise money, going through this and that, taking time off, or even how much God has blessed me in this entire experience. Everyone knows that I have quite the testimony about Howard, and I want to make sure that even if you didn't go to Howard, or if you are going right now, any school you're going to, it is possible through Christ. But it's also possible with hard work and dedication. And I am a true testament of, if you want it, go get it. So yes, today we are talking about how I got this. How I graduated from Howard University despite the many trials and tribulations I went through. So I want to start before I got to Howard. Just throughout high school, I always knew that I've been acting since I was a little girl. I went to LA to perform. I also went to a performing arts high school named Talent Limited High School. I always knew I wanted to act. I didn't know if I wanted to go to school for it per se, because, people kind of talk you down about it, about doing something like that, kind of following your dreams, trying to get stability, do business, do this and that. So I was grappling between, psychology, which is something I also love, but I found that I find psychology in my love for the arts. But by senior year, I was really like, I don't know if I really want to pursue this as a career. And I spoke to one of my friends. He's an amazing actor. His name is Josiah. Josiah, if you're out there. And he was like, why would you want to, double major? Because at that point, I was thinking about double majoring in theater and psychology to, kind of have that balance. He was like, why would you want to do that when you know that you want to act? Like, that's what you need to be doing. You need to be telling your stories. That's what you love to do. So from that conversation, and then my teacher, Mr. Augusto, if you're out there, I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Now, how did I get to Howard? Howard was somewhere I always wanted to go. I knew I always wanted to go to a HBCU. I also knew that if I wasn't going to be around diversity, I wanted to be around my own people. I wanted to learn more about my culture, and I wanted to just be around Black art, Black excellence. So that's where Howard came about. I knew I wanted to go to Howard for a long time, but I also had dreams of going to UCLA and USC. Because of the confidence issues I was going through, I never really applied to those schools. So in my journey, I did go around and travel to audition for all of these other schools. But Howard's drama department is exactly where I wanted to be. So moving forward, I tell my mom that I want to go to Howard. My mother's very supportive in all of my dreams and things like that. And she was on board with it. I would be the first person in my family to attend an HBCU. And I thought that was something that was very exciting for me. So my mother at this time was pregnant when she drove me down to the audition. This was probably around February. I was in one of the last groups to audition, and my mother drove me down there. I auditioned, I got some good feedback. I felt really confident after the audition, and so that was that. We drive back, I'm waiting for, I got other acceptances from other schools. But then I realized, with my college search, I did have a lot of PWIs on it. And of course, they were giving me tons and tons of money. I also did have aspirations of going to Clark at one point. But in terms of acting, I felt like Howard is where I needed to be. I would have settled for psychology if I would have went to Clark. But yeah, so here comes, I think I get my acceptance letter in April or May, towards the latter. And I had got accepted, and I literally called my mother, and I was almost crying, like literally crying, because I had auditioned for so many programs, and when I was auditioning for these programs, I didn't feel like I belonged, you know, not just because it was only white people, but you know, like, I just felt like I didn't belong, and I knew where I wanted to be. And when I got to Howard, I knew that's where exactly I wanted to be. So we get it, we get the acceptance packet. It tells me all the aid I get. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to afford Howard. But me and my mother knew that we were going to try our damn hardest, because this was my dream, and my mother supported me with anything. And I'm very stubborn when it comes to what I want, and I wasn't gonna settle for another school when I knew exactly where I wanted. So I didn't know how I was gonna get the money. I didn't know when or from who, but I was gonna get it. So I go to acceptance day with at my friend at the time, her name was Tana. I went with my friend, and I just was in love. They had the band out, they had the cheerleaders, you know, like everything, the whole atmosphere was like almost like Drumline, like all these movies, like it just was the dream. And you know, that's how they catch you, because they partying in a punch out, and you know, the campus is lit, you got the D9s out, everything was, that day, everything was lit. So on that day, they say, you know, if you trying to, you know, if you're going to be on campus, because all freshmen had to be on campus. If you want to be on campus, you need to do a deposit. And they was doing it half off. Now, you know, black people like deals. So I called my mother. I'm like, Ma, you know, instead of $300, the housing deposit is $150. This could be good for us. This could be good, blah, blah, blah. So she hurries up, you know, squeezes the money out for me. She didn't really have it, but we knew that towards in the end, like 300 as opposed to 150, you know what I mean? So I paid that, and then yeah, like it was secured. I was going to Howard, and I felt great about it. Back to this packet. So yes, I did not really receive any aid from Howard like that, you know? I do feel like when FAFSA gives awards, they don't really look at the demographics. New York is very expensive, and my mother, yes, she is a New York City public school teacher, but when you are a single mother of 2 children, living in Brooklyn, which is about to be one of the most expensive places to live in New York, and of course just extenuating circumstances, it starts to really add up. And they were looking as if we had all this money, right? But like the way they were saying it, I must have been Donald Trump's daughter, whatever. So, you know, that summer I struggled, because I said, all right, I got the housing deposit. I'm obviously going to this school, but where am I about to get the money from? What am I about to do? I barely had any loans. We couldn't get any loans, you know. My credit was not established. And I didn't have really anybody in my family to really take out any loans for me or anything like that. My father's not around. So my mother came up with this idea. She said, you know, Asia, you are a good student. Like, you know, you do community service. You have good grades. You're a great person. You should write a letter. So I end up writing this letter. Me and my mother edited it and everything. And I ended up writing a letter to all the top people at Howard. I just sent it out to various people in financial aid. And I said, you know what? I'm going to see what happens and see what they can give me. A little bit is more than nothing. And towards when it was time to leave to Howard, someone hit me up and said, you know, I can grant you a leadership scholarship of $12,000, $6,000 for the fall and $6,000 for the spring. And I was extremely grateful, because like my bill was looking like the whole semester was just like I had to pay that out of pocket, and we did not have it. But my mother knew how much I wanted to go to Howard. So that kind of started my journey into fighting, because that was really the reason how I even got into Howard. Because I don't know if without that money what I would have done. So I get through freshman year, you know, theater department, doing all of that. It was the struggle, because at the end of my fall semester, a hold was placed back on. And that was what kept the ball rolling for holds to continue to be. I never once until my senior year was able to see my balance or my grades or anything, because I always had a hold. Always had a hold. So Somehow I managed to get through the end of my fall semester, right? But I stayed in financial aid every single day. Like, being in financial aid was almost my part-time job. And speaking of jobs, I wanted to get a job to pay for school in freshman year, but the department, they felt like, no, it's too much course load, it's too much work. You're not going to have time to focus on your art and get a job at the same time, which towards the later years, I had to put that aside because I'm like, I got to be making money. I got to help this somehow, some way. So with my constant trips to financial aid and just being told no, just kept being told no. And I said, you know what, okay, and I'm going to go back the next day. You guys have any money? And I'm going to go back the next day. You guys have any money? Where can I look? Can I write a grant? Do you have people that are, do you have people that are giving out money? Where should I look? What black-owned businesses can I look at? Like, I was going to find this money anywhere, anyhow, by all means. Because people got it. Whether they want to give it, that's up to them. But people have it. So, somehow, some way, they allowed me to register for the spring semester, right? And again, all through Christ, but also through hard work and dedication, I was never giving up. Those people in financial aid knew who I was. They knew my full name. They probably knew my mother by then. They already knew the situation. And thanks to my mother, she took out of her retirement to help me. So I think that was a total of about $3,000 to $4,000 that could help, but I still had this whopping like $15,000 balance that I still was trying to get down. So I get to my somehow I get to sophomore year, same thing, still got a hold, still got a balance. And basically, people in financial aid was like, you sure you want to continue going to Howard? I was like, yeah, I'm going to fight this off. I don't know how I'm going to get it, but I'm going to get this. I'm going to do it. And I just kept speaking into existence. Like, speaking into existence is probably the biggest thing I could have done. Because honestly, like, you have to put that energy into the universe. And then God will handle it. And God will find it out. Now, it's not going to be easy, but it can get done. So here I am in my sophomore year. And what got me to my sophomore year is, so anybody that helped me in financial aid is no longer working there. Pretty sad, financial aid is changing every single year. People are getting, besides like the debacles, people are leaving or people getting fired. I had someone help me. I'm not going to disclose their name, but I had someone in financial aid. I let them know. I said, hey, my mother's able to, take out a certain amount of money from her retirement. Can you let me register for my sophomore year, please? And when this comes, this exact date, you will have some of that money. And he first was saying, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. And I just kept going back. And I just knew, I said in my heart, I said, I'm going to trust and believe that God is going to find a way for me because I belong at this school. I done made friends now. I made a mark for myself on campus. This is the only place that I feel is right for me in my heart. I wanted it so bad. And I wanted my education so bad. And I wanted my education from Howard so bad. So, yeah, basically, he finally agrees to it. But this was over the phone. But then I didn't hear from him, so I just chose a day to go all the way from New York to D.C. to make sure that he was still going to abide by what he said. So I spoke to him. He said that it was still good. Now, closer on to when I was supposed to get back into school, there was no note of the conversation we had. So everybody in financial aid is not able to find him. Nobody knows what the deal was. It wasn't in the notes. So now I start panicking because I'm like, wow, he told me that this was going to be done. He told me that I would be able to register, and now it's all a lie. And I'm like halfway packed. I'm packed up. The day before I was supposed to move in, the day before, he literally made sure to call back and tell everyone that was the deal, blah, blah, blah. So I move in, and that was the deal. Comes October, November, my mother was able to, again, go back into her retirement. Be in mind that going into my retirement thing, it helped me a lot. It helped me, but, my mother has to pay that back out of her paycheck throughout the years. So it kind of hurt us in a certain way, but helped for the moment, if that makes sense. Because we weren't, that's the only loan, she basically taking a loan from herself. But I had no loans and my credit wasn't established and nobody else could take out a loan for me. So that's how I got through my sophomore for fall. Now at the end of fall, still this issue of how I was going to pay. Making small payments here and there, but it's still a whopping balance. And that freshman year scholarship that I had for the leadership scholarship was not renewable. So now I have an even bigger balance than what I already had. So at the end of sophomore semester, I was distraught. I really at this point didn't know what to do. I was telling my teachers and trying to communicate to them, like, you know, hey, like, and then I had applied for their department scholarships, but I just never got it, or they also never had the money at that moment. So, you know, I'm applying for tons and tons of outside scholarships, free money, grants, this and that. Nothing was really coming through. So I prayed so hard on it, and I said, you know what, I'm going to keep going to financial aid. Like I told you, financial aid was that was like my side job. That was my side job. So basically, one of my friends, Amber, she gave me the courage to talk to somebody in financial aid who could have helped. Thanks, Amber, for that. And I said, you know what, let me bring my mother up here because, you know, adults don't really, like, you need an adultier adult. Like, yeah, I was an adult, but you need an adultier adult. And I said, you know, the way that people handle stuff with your mom being present is different than what they do when they handle it with you. So I said, you know what, Ma, I know you got to work and everything. I know you got stuff going on, but please come up here. You know, we just need to speak our truth and let them know, like, listen, like, I'm a student worth investing in. Like, I'm bringing home good grades. I'm doing service. You know, my freshman year, I did alternative spring break, and I went to Memphis to teach HIV/AIDS and sexual education to students, but also with a lower concentration in education, so helping kids get college ready, and I really enjoyed that. And that's just one of many projects that I've done even in high school. Service has always been something that I wanted to do. So yeah, like, I was like, I'm a student worth investing in. You got kids, you got people, you got athletes out here, you know, like, not saying it like that, but you know, you got kids that are not taking advantage of their blessing. Like, some people have full-on rides and just doing mediocre work or not even doing nothing at all to help serve the community or anything. I was in 7 organizations my freshman year, 7. And I got a lot of backlash from my department about it, but I will tell you why that was important for me moving forward, because those people became my family, and when I was going through stuff, I could easily try to turn to them, or they would try to help me the best I could. But if I just stood in my department and not made no connections outside, I probably wouldn't even be where I am today or know as many people as I know. So I bring my mother up. Mind you, this person was the head of financial aid at this time. You never get to see him. You could ask for him, and they still wouldn't let you see him. So me and my mother stood in financial aid line. It was really long, but then all of a sudden we seen this lady going down the other way towards student accounts. And we stopped this lady. We said, hey, we're here to see Mr. So-and-so. And mind you, this person is no longer with the university anymore, so to keep that confidential. So yeah, I'll go. And he says, oh, well, he's right here. You can come in. Mind you, I've never heard that. I was going to financial aid for like 1.5 years, 2 years now, and they never let me see this man because he's always so busy, or, you know, what it is. So we sit in that chair, and I just basically let him know what the situation was, what was going on in my life at that moment. Because there were other extenuating circumstances I'm not going to get into right now, but there were things that were a reason why my finances weren't good for this. You know, people come into your life and kind of disturb it in a way that you don't know. But that's okay, because God was able to assist me in this moment. And, you know, I just bust down crying, and I just told him, like, you know, I'm trying the best I can. I'm pulling in the best grades, and I'm doing service, and I just really want somebody to invest in my education. I'm a girl from the Bronx. I want to be a role model for other girls that feel like, you know, for other girls that don't even have the opportunity to go to college or think they don't. I want to be there for them. I want to put my city on. I want to be successful so freaking bad. I just need one person to invest in my education, because I didn't have nobody else to invest in my education. You know what I mean? And that was started to bother me too, because I felt like nobody really cared. But you know, it's not that nobody really cared. It's just people didn't have it to help. That's just what it is. It just was me and my mom trying to get me through college. So this man, and this is where the testimony comes in, because God is something else. This man literally cleared my full balance. And that's not even what I asked for. I just asked him to lift my hold up so that I could be able to register. And he believed in me and seen my grades and seen what people were saying about me, and he lifted my full balance and told me, listen, you got to get on a payment plan to try to work on your spring balance. And like, honestly, I left, and it's crazy because that was the last day of registration. Last day of registration. I was about to pack my stuff and go back to New York, which is something I didn't want to do ever. And I just was bawling, crying, like, God is so amazing, but thank you to that man for believing in me. You know what I mean? So, again, getting past sophomore year, making small payments here and there, trying, still doing scholarships, still doing department scholarships. But again, like I told you guys, like, Howard really didn't give me much aid. I barely even had Pell Grant. My Pell Grant was probably like $400, $500. And I just had sub and unsub, but I didn't have nothing additional. So I still had this whopping balance, even though this man took off a bunch of money off of my account, like my full balance. So, you know, at this point, I'm like, wow, here I am again. It seems like a reoccurring thing. Now I'm just going to be back here with that same hold on my account, not being able to register and things like that. So I was started to think about ways to lower my cost of education or even housing. So I applied to be an RA. I do the interviews. I really like worked hard. I spoke to other RAs from other campuses to try to help me with this interview. But I knew that I always wanted to be an RA. It would help me financially. But yeah, it would help me financially. But I didn't know if I was gonna be able to do it because my situation. So I ended up getting the position to be an RA. And all through the summer, I was thinking, like, how am I going to get this money? Are they even going to let me accept the position to even train? So I worked at Nordstrom in the summer, saved up some money. And towards the end of me working at Nordstrom, you know, I emailed the lady in charge of resident life. And I emailed a plethora of people, and I told them, I said, hey, at the time, the lady that was in charge of the group I was going to be in was Ms. Bowman. And I emailed Ms. Bowman, and I said, Ms. Bowman, you know how my name is Taisha Sade Nyongani. I am a rising sophomore acting major from the Bronx, New York. Come on, intro. And I told her, I don't know how, I don't know when, but please let me train for this resident life position. And I will register. I don't know how, and I don't know when, but I will. I will. Point blank, period. And she said, with God's grace, she said, okay, come and train. You know, I really hope that you could get this situated, but I'm gonna let you train for the position. And I was so grateful, because that would take off some money off of my Howard bill. So that was a blessing in itself. So I trained for the position, but I'm going from training 8 hours, and then I'm spending time in financial aid. My first week of school, I wasn't even in classes because I was trading financial aid, trying to beg these people to give me time. Beg them to give me time, or at least let me register again. Persistence pays off. They let me register. Straight like that. Now, here's the thing with that. I still had a balance. I still couldn't sign into my Vice and Web all throughout the year, but I was able to take classes. So I went through the year as an RA. That was one of the best experiences. I had my own room. You know, they paid. Yeah. And towards the end of it, I had no clue how I was going to pay again. So at this point, everybody's like, Asia, you just need to come home. Like, honestly, like, just come home. Like, that's just what you're going to have to do. And I'm like, listen, I'm in my junior year. I have spent so much time at this school. I made a name for myself. I'm not going nowhere. I want this education so bad. So I kept reaching out to council members, reaching out to black-owned businesses, writing letters, looking for scholarships. But nothing came up. So that was the semester where I realized, okay, Asia, you just immediately gonna have to take off. And it hurt me because people think that taking off is like, you know, like sometimes the best thing, but a lot of things can happen when you take a semester off. You could take a semester off and get pregnant. You could take a semester off and spiral. You can take a semester off and not ever come back. You could take a semester off and end up getting a job and feel like you don't wanna, ever go back to school again. It's a lot of things, and that's what I was trying to avoid. And, you know, I'm from New York, and I love New York, you know, BX all day, but New York can get real toxic sometimes, and the people can get real toxic. And I knew that going home was not the best bet for me, especially because it was already stuff at home that I was going through too. And I just wanted to be in a clear environment to think and to breathe. So I had to accept the fact that I had to take a semester off. But I said, I'm not going home. I'm going to take this semester off, but I'm not going home. I'm going to still go to class as normal. I'm going to still stay on campus. I don't know how because I have nowhere to live. I don't have nowhere to live, but I'm going to figure it out. So I moved all my stuff. I was told to move all of my stuff out the dorm. And I moved it into my friend Simone's room, who was an RA at that time. And she let me stay with her for a little bit, probably for about a month. I told my teachers, I said, hey, listen, I'm in a situation right now. I know I'm not registered, but please let me come to your class. I will do all the work as possible. I will attend all rehearsals. I even was cast in my first lead role in that same time when I wasn't registered, and house hopping. And yeah, I went to rehearsal like normal. I just treated it like normal. But it wasn't easy. So after I went to stay with Simone, you know, that got a little whatever, it got a little cluttered. So I said, okay, let me see who else I can stay with. Because taking someone in is not always easy, you know what I mean? Especially because the dorms are small, so it's like for two people to, but you know. So then my dance team sis, Morgan, let me stay with her in the towers. Totally illegal, totally illegal. Like, I had to sneak in every single day. I don't know how I did it, but I literally had to do it. And, you know, that worked out for some time, but sometimes I couldn't get into the building. Sometimes they would catch me. Sometimes I would get caught. And because I was an RA, I had my key card still worked, so sometimes I would just have to sleep in the lounge because I didn't have nowhere to go because I couldn't get into the building. And I couldn't get signed in because I wasn't registered. And I had got caught one time, and they basically put me on that list of, like, you can't even come in the building. So grappling with that, I really was just house hopping every single day. Like, I didn't have nowhere to stay. So with that being said, with all the house hopping I was doing, it was taking a toll over my mental. I was very stressed. It wasn't the best semester that I had taken off, but it did make me stronger. But, you know, I was very depressed, anxious, working entirely too hard to try to get this education, but I wanted it so freaking bad. But I spiraled. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I had to sleep in Banneker Park one day because I didn't have nowhere to stay. Nowhere. And that's not even a lie. And that day literally, like, it just humbled me. But it also I just was so frustrated that this is all I had to do to get my education. But at the same time, I was like, you know, Asia, you get through this, you could get through anything, like anything. So yeah, I had nights where I just slept in the lounge, you know, and then I would try to get into the building to try to get some clothes and change and quickly take a shower. Towards March or April, so my friend's roommate, suite mate, ended up telling them that I was staying there, and they told me to get my stuff out. So now I really had no place to stay, nowhere stable. And now I got 2 months to finish school, and I have nowhere to go. And even when I tried to sneak in and this and that, it was a matter of me literally, like, it would be trespassing. They would either call the cops, or the girl, she had an issue with me staying there. And I was, you know, I even had a heart-to-heart conversation with her. I said, listen, you know, like, I'm not even staying in your room. You know, I clean. You know, and then her and my roommate kind of had issues. So it's like I was trying to bridge that gap, but she just had no heart for it. She had no heart for it. So here I am again, homeless, with no stable place to stay. With rehearsal, I had just gotten a job, thank God, to try to help with school and help feed myself. And still trying to go to class, like normal. Like normal. But it was really hard for me. Like, I had nights where I would get blacked out drunk for no reason. Like, it was not easy. And I ain't gonna lie, I lost sight of God. I did. Even though he was the person that got me to where I am, I lost sight of God. I just couldn't understand why I was going through everything I was going through. And I felt like the black sheep. I felt like nobody else in my family was going through this. I feel like none of my friends had to go through this to get through school. Like, it was just me. And I felt like I was working so freaking hard. Why, though? But besides that, you know, I get through my show, and that was a blessing. I said, you know, I'm not going to turn that role down, because before that, I had been dancing in the background, dancing in the shadows, singing, but I wanted this role so bad. If you came, that was the show Eclipse. That was my first lead role at Howard, and it means so much to me. So yeah, I just kept it like normal, kept going to class, and I said, this is going to pay off. This is going to pay off. So I had the opportunity to audition to go to Oxford. It was called BADA, the British American Drama Academy. And it's something that I wanted to do, but I was scared because I'm like, girl, you ain't even got no money for school. How the hell are you about to sit here and go all the way over the country? Like, that makes no sense. Like, prioritize. But I wanted it. But I still was conflicted, and I said, Asia, you homeless right now. How the hell you going to even, I'm not going to do it. I said, I'm not going to audition. And I don't know who I spoke to. I might have spoke to my mentor, Ryan Jamal Swain, or I spoke to one of my teachers, and they said, you need to at least audition and see what you can get. They might want to give you money. And I just was so down and out at that moment. I was like, nah, I don't know. But after praying on it and thinking about it, I said, you know what? The least I can do is audition. So I worked entirely so hard, day and night, on my monologues, on my monologue choices, reading sonnets, trying to understand sonnets, trying to understand Shakespeare a little bit better for this audition. So I go in, I audition. I left the room feeling a little uneasy. You know, I'm my biggest critic, so I don't really give myself the props that I need or the props that I think I should have. I always think that I could do better. And, you know, my teacher had texted me like a day or two after and was like, you know, they brought up 2 students and your name was one of them, and I don't know if you got in, but that's a good sign. So even though he told me that, I still was like, yeah, they could have been bringing me up for anything. Basically, a week or 2 after that, this was around March, towards the end, I got an email saying that I had been accepted with a $3,670 scholarship. And I literally just broke down crying. Like, God is so good to me. I had nothing. I had basically no stable place to stay. My confidence was shot. I was exhausted. I was mentally drained. I was giving up on myself. And here God come. And little did I know, that was a full tuition scholarship. So I was so blessed. I was so blessed. But the housing wasn't included. So then I started to stress again. I said, how am I going to get $3,000? I can't even pay for school. There was this scholarship called Lucy Moten. And I was not registered for school. I need y'all to know how God really works and is influenced in my life. I was not registered for school. But something told me, listen, how it is unorganized, this shit. I'm like, let me just apply. I once was a student. It got to count for something. I wrote this long letter about why I deserved to go here. I told them it was a full tuition, and if they gave me the $3,000, my entire trip would be paid for. My entire trip there would be paid for. And I told them, like, listen, like, it's not every day that a girl from the Bronx gets to go travel around the country. It's not every day that a girl from the Bronx gets to go travel around the country. So, I was at, so my Serafina was the musical I did. Me and my girls, we had our sleepover. And in the morning, I got an email from Lucy Moten. And they had awarded me a $3,000 scholarship. My entire trip was paid for. I literally got down on my knees and just started crying. I could not believe that this was happening. I wasn't even registered, y'all. That's how I know the power of God. But I also didn't give up. I didn't give up. I said, I'm going to fight this, and I want this so bad. And I deserve this. So, the scholarship covered almost 500 over, so then they gave it back to me for a flight. So that was one flight there, and then I worked all summer, and I made sure that I could get the flight there. And when I tell you that Oxford experience was the best experience of my life, like, it changed me as an artist, changed me as a person. I was in open air. I was able to think and breathe. That my anxiety went down, my depression went down, my anxiety with Shakespeare went down. I started to understand. I met amazing, amazing people. Like, really, like, it just was a blessing. And here's another blessing. I thought I was going to travel more during the program, but I wasn't able to because of finances. But I had enough money to even get this, so that was a blessing. I wasn't even going to complain. And I was able to go to Paris. Me and my friends were able to go to Paris. So these are all new experiences that I thought I would never have, that I thought I could never dream of. Towards the end of my Oxford program, they did like a one-time scholarship because someone in their board had passed away, and they wanted to give some money to 2 students. And I was one of those students. They gave me another $1,000 after already giving me a full tuition scholarship. Like, it's just crazy to me how blessed I am, and how I, like, literally, like, this is a testimony. Like, yes, you pray and everything, but you work hard too, and God is going to see you through. God is going to match that same energy, literally going to have that same energy. So I took that $1,000 and I did a little bit of traveling, but I also made sure to save some for school. Here we are at my senior year. Senior year, this is my last year, last thing I'm going to go through. Now, before I got to my senior year, because of me being homeless and not really having a stable environment to stay, or what have you, I did apply to be independent. And the reason I was independent is because I didn't have any family out here. I was homeless. I had people from organizations write these letters to testify, and one of my teachers, Professor Colwell, was one of the very people that wrote me a letter, because he knew I was going to him every day, almost crying. He knew exactly what I was going through and knew that I had no stable environment to stay, and wrote a letter on my behalf. And, basically claiming independency, it gave me more funds. It gave me more scholarships. All of these loans and stuff that I never seen before, I had. So here comes senior year. I come back from the UK, and I'm ready to figure out how I'm going to get back into school. I said, I still got a bit of a balance, and my financial aid hasn't been going through yet. So I spend numerous amounts of times in financial aid. And my friend Anthony had told me someone to see in financial aid to help. And basically what the lady told me was that you are one of the people we can't help anymore. Like, we just can't help you anymore. You really, if you do not pay this entire balance of $8,000, you are not going to graduate here and you are not going to register. And I just cried, because there's no way I was going to have that all in that moment. There's no way. Like, I was bawling. I thought it was over. Literally, you can ask my best friend Indigo. I thought it was over. And after, you know, soaking in my tears and everything, I said, you know what? I'm going to try again. And I'm going to go back. And I'm going to speak to the head of the head person, and you're not going to tell me no. So, again, I stay in financial aid for hours. This is hours and hours of journey. Hours. And I didn't have no problem with it because I had to miss class. I wasn't registered yet, and I wasn't going to stop until I was registered. I go to the head of financial aid, and I tell him my story, and he still was kind of like, no. Not even story. I was trying to explain to him if he just gave me time. Again, I could try to go into my mother's retirement. I could give you a lump sum of money right now. He still wasn't having it. Still wasn't having it. I go back. And I try to speak to him again. And I wait so long to speak to him. Now, a girl that I met in Bada, I told her all of she was like my big sister out there. I told her all of my issues with trying to pursue school. And, you know, she had a good job and everything. And she was blessed enough to give me, her name is Devon. Devin, sorry. Devin, I love you. Thank you so much. Devin gave me $3,000. And I went back to the man and I said, listen, if I give you this $3,000 right here, because I said, you know what, maybe they're not listening to me because I'm not coming to them with nothing. And at that point, financial aid was shot. Like, we were going through all of this stuff. That was when they were stealing the money. Like, it was going through a lot. So they had no alleyway to even give any more funds. I said, if I come to you with this, will you please put me on a payment plan and I will pay these. So he basically says you have to go to a notary. And get it approved, and I'm gonna give you these dates, and you have to pay by these dates or your classes will be dropped. And the amounts of money was so much. It'd be like $2,000. It would be like $3,000 on August 28th. September 21st, another $2,000. Like three, and it was 3 dates with big amounts of money. And what I kept telling him was, my mother's trying to get an additional loan from her retirement. Like, can you please wait? He was like, nope, you have to pay by these dates. Now, I wasn't sure that I knew that I wasn't going to be able to pay by those dates, but I just agreed to it because I'm like, listen, I'm going to try and I'm going to figure it out. And if worst come to worst, they drop my classes, I'm going to try again. So I go to the notary, I come back, I come literally like businesswoman pro. I have a manila folder with all the documents, signed agreements. I said, basically, I'm signing to you that if I don't pay this, you can drop my classes right now. So I do all of that, and guess what he says? You're not admitted in this senior year. You're going to have to apply to be a student again, but we have no more space for students. And I said, y'all had me doing all of this, but y'all never even told me that? I could have had these papers or whatever, because I did take a semester off, but I never withdrew. So I said, y'all gonna have me do all of this? Y'all gonna have me do all of this and not tell me? So I thought it was back to square one. I'm crying, because literally they said it was no space for me to even be a student again. So with the help of some of my friends, they was like, Asia, you gotta go back. You come this far. You got all the notes and everything. I go back and I speak to different people, and I'm like, listen, this man told me that if I did all of this, I would be able to register. Now, what is really going on? No one told me that there was any paperwork for me to do, and I had been going to financial aid for a month straight. As soon as I got back from Oxford, around August 10th. As soon as the campus opened, I was there every day, nonstop, constantly, on their ass, because I wanted this. This is my last year, and I said, I want this. Bad. I want it bad. I want my education so bad to the point that I sat there and still went to class when I could have just been less motivated. I could have went home and did anything. I wanted it. So I get that figured out. They found a way to admit me into 2018 class. But now it's a point of getting all my teachers. So now I'm 3 weeks late into the semester trying to get into classes. So I had, not only did I have to pay extra money, which was okay for extra credit, because I had to make up for those classes that I missed junior year. But the good thing about it is some of them I already took. So the agreement I created with my teachers really helped me to graduate on time, because I did take those classes. I just wasn't registered, which is something that's you also not supposed to do. But I said I'm not gonna give up. So yeah, basically I had to run around the campus and find every single teacher to sign off on my classes so that I can register, and I had to get it to her all in one day when some of these teachers are only available on Tuesdays or Thursdays. So this was a trek. Had to find them, I had to literally manually register, so get the course number. I had to meet up with my advisor to make sure that I was getting the right classes to get me to the right credit amount. Also making sure that that semester I took off to put those classes on top of there. A trek. But I end up doing it. I go to Miss Porter. She registers me. Now I'm registered. And my financial aid came through, and it was way more aid than I had because I claimed independency because of all that I went through. I had no place to stay. So I go through my senior year and everything. I had applied for the department's scholarship once again. But yeah, because I had applied for it 3 times, I'm like, well, I mean, they're probably not gonna give it to me this time. And God was like, do you know who I am? Oh, Jesus. So I get to the second semester, and I was granted $4,500 from the theater department. And I literally, it was crazy. It was crazy. Because that is literally all the money I needed to help with that prior back balance, because I had issues trying to even get to the next semester because of that back balance too. But I kept going. And after running around trying to make sure the scholarship was for this year and that year, because they had to split up the scholarship so that I could take care of my back balance, but also take care of the next semester. And after all of that, and going to financial aid and meeting with this person and that person in my department, my balance was $0 by the time by like February, March. I've never seen my balance $0. I've never even been able to log into my Bison web. Nothing. When I tell you that God is an amazing God, and I wanted this so bad, but he wanted it for me, and I'm glad I never lost faith, because he is literally the reason why I'm able to say that I graduated from the Illustrious Howard University on time. On time. So yeah. Y'all, they try to get a bitty down, but guess what? Guess what though? Hi, Jade. They try to get a bitty down though. I just wanted to say to everybody, thank you for all your support. The time has come. I see you, Petunia. And here go my beautiful classmates. Come on, black beauties. Come on. We out here. If you didn't know. Now you know. About to walk on this yard, you know. Chadwick Boseman is a fine arts major. Wakanda. And yeah, we lit out here. We lit. We just being black and beautiful out here. Everybody say hi, guys. Hey. Can I get an H? You know. Oh, that was great. I didn't know they was gonna do it. So this video was basically to tell anybody, like, even if you don't go to Howard, like I was saying, you can do anything that you want to do. When I tell you the majority of people knew me on campus because I was in and out of financial aid, crying my eyes out. I was always trying to do a GoFundMe. I hustled so hard for that degree. I hustled so freaking hard for that degree. And I want you to know that you can do anything that you put your mind to if you believe in yourself, if you're persistent, if you will work hard, and if you believe in Christ. Because what's a blessing without no hard work? You can't just sit there and pray without doing no work. You got to do both. It's a partnership. And I'm blessed to have said that I was able to graduate on time, and I'm actually proud of myself. It takes me a long time to say that I'm proud of myself, but this is probably the biggest accomplishment that I've ever had in my entire life. So for those of you that are out there that feel like you can't do it, you can. I am literally the living and breathing example of speaking into existence, of that God can do anything and that you can do anything. Don't you ever give up. College is hard. College is a haze. Howard was not easy. But you can do it. I really believe in you. So I thank you guys for watching. This was long overdue. I honestly want to have a book coming soon. But this was mainly to share my side, share my testimony, but also to give those people confidence to keep going. It's gonna get hard and it's gonna get rough, but keep going. You can do it. Because if I could do it with no money and get through college, like none, like no aid, and all these blessings started to come, and I had no clue. These are all unforeseen things that I never knew that could happen. But what did I do? I believed in myself, and I believed that I can get it. And you can do the same thing. So can I get an A, you know? Thank you guys for watching my channel. Stay tuned for more videos, more inspirational videos, and things about my journey. Click subscribe, like, comment, let me know what you think. Share this with other individuals that need a little more, that need some motivation. Because, like I said, college is very hard, but I'm letting you know that you can do it, and I believe in you. If you ever want to speak to me, just post in the comment section, and I'll be sure to speak to you and give you any motivation that you need, pray over you. I will do all of that. So thank you. Asia from the Bronx out.